what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey yo, put the grants over there in the safe, you know what I'm saying? Cause we spinning these Jacksons. The Washingtons go to wifey, you know how that go.
I'm saying that's what this is all about, right? Clothes, bank rolls, and hoes, you know what I'm saying? Yo, then what, man?
Welcome back to
What?
Guard Your Girl Boxing. It's your man Coltrane representing GYGB. You see the acronyms on the t-shirt, man. Best boxing show on the planet, best boxing show in the universe, man. All that, and then some. You know, shout out to the Brads, Big Mike, Doc, Sleep, Rada Die, Volley Boy, BJ Murray. Everybody out there in Guard Your Girl Boxing land that's always holding the fort down for us, man. Greatly appreciated. I apologize, man, for last week. I didn't get a chance to get my prediction. I wish I did, you know, so I could look like Nostradamus. No, I'm just messing with y'all. But the GYGB Brash know what I'm talking about. You know, we're going to get into what took place last Saturday. I didn't get a chance to get my prediction, man. And it's a shame because, you know, Timothy Brash, it's funny, man. Before I actually get into that, I just want to say something real quick, put something out there. And I need everybody to keep it all the way 100 with me. Before you post anything on this here YouTube video, let me know. I need to know, because all of us got a little hater in it. Let me just preface and say that. And what I mean by that is everybody got a dude for whatever reason, whether it's an athlete, an actor, whatever it may be. You just don't like the dude for whatever reason. Like, I'm going to give you a prime example, and I'm dating myself a little bit. The dude that played in the movie Christine, where the car comes to life and haunts the Stephen King movie, great movie. But the dude that was the lead actor, I couldn't stand that dude. He was an 80s dude, bucktooth dude. I just didn't dig him. Like, he was just something about him. He had like that whole I hate the face look. Nicolas Cage, another dude. Although Con Air was like good late night TV for me. I watched Con Air like 1,000 times, but Nicolas Cage is another one of those guys. He got like I hate the face. I just don't like him for whatever reason. Timothy Bradley was one of these dudes I just didn't like. One of the things I didn't like about him was his fight game. I just thought I never really knew what it was, to be honest. And not saying that you shouldn't like something because you don't know what it is, because that's not a really good way. Especially what I'm doing, predicting fights, analyzing, and giving my opinion. You know, I have to be objective, but I just was clouded with this dude and his personality. You know, he's corny. He's a corny dude. You know, and then his personality just isn't. I don't know. It just isn't genuine to me. He has no personality. Like he tried to have personality, but you don't have no personality. But again, that has nothing to do with why you pick a fighter to win a fight. Again, that has nothing to do with respecting a fighter. Because I always respected the dude because he always had a will to win. That was his one attribute. Which to me goes hand in hand with a game manager or a role player. You know what I'm saying? You know those little attributes for indirect saying that you're not really that good, but you do enough to get by and win. You know, those type of little attributes. And last Saturday night, all that went out the window. All that went out the window. Those attributes, he solidified himself on Saturday night as one attribute. You know, and we'll get into that in a second. Again, I just want to know, you know, we always talk, you know, we always go sidebar here on GYGB. Again, who's that actor or who's that athlete, who's that boxer that you just don't like for whatever reason. We got a good fight coming up next Saturday night too. We got Alvarado versus the Russian, Provodnikov. I'm not gonna butcher my man's name, so I'm gonna just call him the Russian. Y'all know who he is, the guy that Timothy Bradley last for it. But let's get into last Saturday night. You know, let's get into last Saturday night. Again, y'all didn't get a chance to see it. The GYGB Brads can attest to this. You know, initially I picked Juan Manuel Marquez to win the fight. I thought the fight was going to end with a straight right hand and Timothy Bradley being put to sleep. But then a light bulb went off in my head, and I started thinking, well, what boxers did Juan Manuel Marquez face? And as I started replaying his resume in my head, don't give me Smoke Gainer either, because he doesn't count a little bit. No disrespect to that dude, but you know everybody knows Smoke Gainer was a Roy Jones creation. Chris John, people would consider him a boxer. I don't know if I would consider him slick, but he has a boxing style. He got a Vicky over Juan Manuel Marquez, though, a boxing style. We all know about Floyd Mayweather Jr., what he did. He put a JCPenney's comforter over Juan Manuel Marquez, blanketing with a boxing lesson. So again, I'm playing these fights out. I said, well, he didn't fight any boxers. Nobody with any type of slickness. Now, Bradley, the problem why I was a little reluctant for picking Bradley was he shows signs that he could box, but he never sticks to the game plan. That's why I opened the show with I didn't know what he was. Because he showed all these different dimensions, but he never stuck to one thing. And he was a jack of a lot of trades, but he wasn't great at none of them. But, again, we'll get in the fight in a second. As I was thinking about it, I said, if Bradley can fight 7 rounds of boxing, he's going to make Juan Manuel Marquez look slow, old, and methodical and flat-footed. I said, Juan Manuel Marquez is going to look like a minivan. Timothy Bradley going to look like a 911 Porsche on Saturday night. And that's exactly what happened. And don't give me this nonsense about that he outworked. He did outwork and out-hustle Juan Manuel Marquez. He outboxed him. He got took to the science lab on Saturday night. The double jabs, the circling, the stage left, the stage right, the spins, the turns. It was one sequence he pulled the poor man's Mayweather where he landed a lead. I think it was a lead right hand and then slipped the punch all in the same sequence. Y'all remember when Floyd did that? That was all over YouTube and all over those little things where you write stuff on there with the pictures. I don't know what they call it. I ain't really plugged into the whole social thing all like that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Bradley, for years now, he finally defined himself on Saturday night, in my opinion. But the dude been defining himself. Shout out to Sleep, you go back and check the old videos. He predicted it. He called it. He said, although he went against, not to put Sleep on blast, but he picked Marquez. Like a lot of people, like I initially was going to do. See, one thing we forget in boxing is, sometimes even as the most hardcore boxing fans, we forget this. You can't compare last fights to this fight. He fought this fight, he did that. You got to look at the two styles in front of you. Now, what you can do is look at other past fights. It's like, how did he do with this style? How did he do with that style? Bradley fought damn near every style possible. Marquez he's feasted on a lot of leapers and lungers, come straight for. Basically, he's been a mechanic, tuning up a lot of bad transmissions, basically. He's been fighting a lot of guys that has one gear, that comes forward. We didn't see anybody that knows how to circle, go here, go there, not giving him the same look once or twice. Tying him up, clinching him, all that slick trickery stuff that I talk about, the Wars, the Bernards, the Floyd do. Timothy Bradley did that on Saturday night. Now, not to the level of those guys, but he put on a nice version of those type of guys' performances. He was slick on Saturday night. The science is being a scientist is about being slick. Hit, not be hit. And all this nonsense about running around. You people kill me with this stuff. Every time, and these are the same Juan Manuel Marquez fans, when the Pacquiao fans was complaining that he ran in that one fight where they blatantly robbed Marquez. But now, because Bradley, stage left and stage right your ass, now all of a sudden he was running and it ain't boxing. Ain't that funny how that go? What also is funny to me is that Juan Manuel Marquez was always supposed to be a technician. Now all of a sudden, because the guy is a little bit more slick than you and got a little bit more flavor to his box game, you want him to stand in front of you and go toe to toe. No. It don't work like that. To quote the OG from Philly on here, y'all know who he is, Bernard Hopkins, after the Kelly Pavlik fight, and I quote, bend your knees and work on your slickness. Work on your slickness. This is about the sweet science of boxing in the end. Because like I always tell y'all, the sweet science of boxing, when displayed properly, will destroy any type of violence. Juan Manuel Marquez was a violent person on Saturday night. Violent people don't beat smart people. And in this sport, maybe in a bar fight after a happy hour that goes down, Juan Manuel Marquez would have beat up Timothy Bradley. But in this sport, you got to use your mind. This ain't about beer muscles. I know he all dieseled up and look. And I like Juan Manuel Marquez, but the reason I'm a little agitated about him because he getting his porn star on and he bitching and he moaning. And, because he was robbed against Pacquiao. I guess that's the company line now. And I was robbed. No, you was not robbed. What you're doing is robbing your fans of being being a sore loser, basically. You know, you're not being a stand-up dude. And now, granted, he lost to Pacquiao, but Timothy Bradley didn't lose on Saturday night. At best, it was the 8-4 fight. I don't even think he should have won. It shouldn't even have been a split decision for Juan Manuel Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez was looking to land one punch all night. He was looking to land a home run all night. That's all he was doing was cocking and loading. You know, he looked like it was looking like Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya, basically. You know, all of a sudden Juan Manuel Marquez, because he knocked Pacquiao with one punch, all of a sudden you a one punch hitter now. See, the thing about it, how it's funny how it goes, because you kind of reap what you sow in this sport, and you landed the one punch. And you forgot, what got you there. Although I still think Timothy Bradley is the quote-unquote better boxer. You know, we just never got a chance to see him sustain it for 12 rounds. But Marquez didn't even really, to me, try to box. To me, all he did was try to just take Bradley's head off. And Bradley was, doing a little roll. And not that he was Floyd rolling, but, people ooh and ah every time a punch landed. But Bradley was rolling with them punches. People get that confused just because a fighter lay a punch on a person's face. If it ain't flush, if he got his head turned, that's a roll. It ain't gotta be like Floyd, like he got his shoulder in a roll, but he moving his head. That's a roll. But he just thoroughly outboxed Timothy Bradley, Juan Manuel Marquez. So what's next, man, for these two? At the end of the day, I think Juan Manuel Marquez still got the Pacquiao fight in his bag. I don't know if it's the 5th fight or whatever, but. I don't really see much at this point. He could always fight a Brandon Rios if he beats Pacquiao. But I more so think that's a good fight for Bradley. The problem for Bradley is all the heat is over at the other company. And speaking of the companies, Top Rank need to be ashamed of themselves. This card Saturday night, granted, it was a pretty decent fight. It wasn't a great fight, but it was a good enough fight. Wasn't worthy of pay-per-view, but it would have been worthy of pay-per-view if you stuffed it right. They've become like a straight-to-DVD movie company, while Golden Boys continue to put out blockbusters. And all you people out there that bitched and complained about Rios and Madonna's being on pay-per-view, did you see that card? Did you see the card that they loaded up? And don't give me that it shouldn't be on pay-per-view. Because you people are the same people that take your girl and your kids or whoever you take to the movie to spend $70 for some popcorn and some Raisinets to go see Iron Man 7 or whatever the hell number they on. So when your sport try to do the right thing and stack these cards up, you shouldn't mind paying for that. But that card last week, Salido and Crew, whatever the dude, I forget the dude name for it. Come on, man, that can't be. That's it. Come on, y'all wanted $65 for that. You got at least stack the card. But props to Timothy Bradley. Much as I was joking about how I don't like him and all that, I respect the hell out of that dude, and I got a totally different perspective on that dude. Because at the end of the night, when it all comes down to it, if you apply the sweet science the way it's meant to be applied, it can't be beaten. And it showed on Saturday night. Juan Manuel Marquez. Basically got taken to school, man. And it happens. It doesn't take anything away from Juan Manuel Marquez. Styles make fights. Timothy Bradley looked bad against the Russian guy because he fought stupid. Pacquiao looked better against Bradley, but Marquez looked better against Pacquiao. It's just styles make fights. And Juan Manuel Marquez and the people out there saying that he won the fight and, he was coming forward. That's not boxing, dog. Coming forward, loading up punches, it's hitting. That sequence, if you go on Wikipedia and look up the sweet science of boxing, you're going to see Timothy Brand landing that flush right hand and slipping Marquez punch in the same sequence. That's boxing. So next Saturday night, speaking of boxing, you got Mike Alvarado versus Ruslan Provodnikov, the Russian. Man, I can't wait to see this fight next Saturday. But I'm going to forewarn people. Mike Alvarado, like Timothy Bradley, had to learn the hard way as well. You remember his first fight with Brandon Rios, how that fight went. You remember that? That was toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano. But where did he go? He went back and got into his science books, man. Because at the end of the day, this sport, is about hit, not be hit. It is. Much as those fights are great, but that's what this sport is about: boxing and controlling the action. And that's what he did against Brandon. Brandon Rios was frustrated. He was mad because he felt as though, he didn't go toe. He didn't stand right in front of him. When you don't stand right in front of these guys, like the Russian guy, the Brandon Rios, they look kind of ordinary. So you kind of know where I'm going with my pick with this, don't you? Yeah, I'm going with Mike Alvarado. I'm always going to pick the boxer over the quote-unquote puncher. And y'all going to be shocked how this fight, it might not be the fight of the year that y'all thinking. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be those mano-a-mano moments. But this sport is about the sweet science of boxing. Mike Alvarado already got a soft bottom before, and I don't see that happening again, man. But I could be wrong. He had to go through it once, and maybe he'll go through it twice like he did with Brandon Rios. But my pick is Alvarado. I'm going with the science. Man, y'all been holding us down, man. Again, man, I can't be thankful enough of the love and support we get from our fans. I ain't going to say fans, the family out there, man. You know how this thing goes. This is a family thing. Guard Your Girl Boxing, man. Yo, Tuesday night, man. Make sure y'all check us out. TalkShoe.com, man. If you don't know how to link up to it, send me an email, guardyourgirlboxing@gmail.com, or hit up the YouTube inbox. Hit us up on Facebook. Facebook is popping. We putting posts up. We trying to do the social media thing. We trying to be in tune. But make sure y'all get with us on Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, TalkShoe.com.